I'm Gold Derby editor Daniel Montgomery here with Angela Lewis, who plays Aunt Louie in Snowfall. Now, season 5 has ended, and the whole season saw Louie coming into her power really in the drug trade. And especially after ending season 4, she was in such a vulnerable position. She had just been shot. Did you always know that her story was headed in this direction, or did this season kind of take you by surprise?
I didn't always know. What I knew was that it was important to FX and the executives of Snowfall that Louie be smart. And I think over the years, we've really leaned into that. Even when she didn't have as much power, she was always smart. She was always strategic. And I'm not sure exactly where they wanted to take her, but I do know at the beginning of each season, Dave Andron, the showrunner, he would call each of us in individually and kind of, do a powwow and ask if there's any storyline or any place we want to see our characters grow. And at the summer before, I think it was the summer before season 5, he asked me what I was interested in. And I said, I kind of want to see Louie be a villain. And I think he might have already been thinking that. And so the fact that I was on board just really gave everybody, full freedom to lean into that. And here we are.
Yeah, it is interesting, because Louise sort of did become a villain, but at the same time, especially in the finale, you've got Franklin, pointing a gun at her and saying, like, I would kill you 10 times over for my money. So it's not like he's like this super heroic figure either.
Exactly.
Have fans, are there fans sort of taking sides already, like Team Louie, Team Franklin?
Yes, there are some Team Louie fans out there. I think I lost a few people when I became the villain. And what I love about Louie being the villain is that she's not just mean or evil. Like, she has a full point, which is why Franklin apologizes to her at the wedding, and so all that to say that there's a lot of people who don't like me and Louie right now. And I'm okay with that because I think, I would rather see Louie be in her power, bless you, be in her power and not be stifled by anybody's, bad decisions and inability to see who she really is, which is a very smart, very driven, very strategic, pretty accurate contribution to the business. So yeah, I've lost some fans.
But Louis' attempt to kind of move up in the drug business and how smart she is, like, she has found a way to move her way up, and yet she's also seeing Franklin how far down there is to go. Like, do you think that there's, this is very much what Louis has to do to kind of maintain her position, or do you feel like what she's doing, there's like an element of hubris to it that it could be kind of her downfall?
I think both. I think she certainly really feels like in order to be at the top, which is where she really feels like she can be, she can't afford mess ups, and she can't afford to give any more of the benefit of the doubt that she's already been given. And Franklin has proven time and time again that, yeah, he's looking out for the family, but he's really looking out for himself, because if he was really looking out for the family, he would listen more to Louie and he would, embrace her as a partner more. So I think she really feels like this is what she needs to do. And at the same time, because, she's a whole, as characters go, a whole human being, I definitely think there's some ego involved. Not as much as Franklin. Franklin has a lot of ego, but there's definitely some moments where she kind of stuck that knife in a little more than she needed to.
Louis had this great speech with Leon about, how the rules are different for her as a Black woman, as hard as things are for Black men. And I think part of that, like if you lost fans, I felt like that scene could have gotten you a lot back, because like you said, she's making really great points, and like she probably does have to be twice as ruthless to get half the respect. So what did you think when you read that speech, and you got to play it out?
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting moment because they're in the 80s, 1986, I think we're in, and we're in real life in 2022. So I felt like I had to walk a balance between getting Leon to understand where she was coming from and not, beating our audience over the head with, I'm a Black woman, I gotta work, 1,000 times harder. Like, I think it was a good reminder for the audience to pull them back in and to help them see where she's coming from and see that she's not being ruthless for no reason. Like, she really does have to, be ironclad. But at the same time, it's not the first time that we're hearing that in our culture today. So I didn't want to like make it a whole drawn out thing, because we know that every Black woman out there knows that. It's not like so that was an interesting moment for me, and we tried it a few different ways, and this is where we landed, and I feel good about where we landed. And I do want to say that even with that moment, it is a mirror of the kind of macro spectrum in which we're living in, because I have mentioned that to many people online, and they still are like, yeah, I see your point, but I still not messing with you. And I'm like, what? So yeah, it's hard.
And a sort of happier development for Louie was her relationship with Jerome, continuing to evolve, and them getting married this season. And of course, what happens at every wedding is everyone gets dosed with LSD. Like, did that sort of like development in that episode surprise you, that was going to be like a main component of what was happening?
Oh yeah, it was shocking when I was reading the script. I could not. Of course, I was like, because Walter Mosley wrote that episode, and of course he wrote that. But it was definitely like, whoa, this is going to be a complete roller coaster ride, and I was excited to see how it turned out in the end, because there was so much going on, so many layers in that episode. Yeah, it was a treat, a surprising treat.
And one of the highlights, that you have in that episode is, you and Louie and Jerome just sort of like talking to each other about their love for each other, and yet also kind of talking past each other. Like they're both sort of on their own train of thought. How was that difficult to play it in that way, with these characters kind of both together, but like very much like not even in the same place?
Yes, we rehearsed that so many times before we actually shot it, and then we did a whole bunch of takes. It is hard to be looking someone in their eye and digging deep down into yourself to get your truth out, and still you want to hear the other person's truth like that. It was a really I didn't realize how hard it was to actually speak over someone when you really want to hear what it is that they're trying to say. And then in moments where there would be like key words, like he said something about a wolf, and it would, every time I would like click into that and then lose my train of thought. So it was, like, oh, we're in a place where our own truth is kind of outweighing hearing the other person. Getting our own truth out is outweighing in this moment hearing the other person's truth, which is kind of a shame, you know what I mean? But I guess that's what LSD does to you. You got to get it out.
Well, LSD did a lot of different things to a lot of different characters, and I think Jerome and Louie got the best version of that, probably.
Yes.
While Franklin is having like this just feverish nightmare all over the place.
Right.
And one of the aspects of Louie where we all see her coming into her power, not just in terms of what's going on inside, but how that's manifesting in her wardrobe. I feel like she had so many power outfits, and the costuming was really reflecting where she is. What were you thinking about the wardrobe? How much input do you have in oh, I think Louie would wear that, I don't think she would wear that? What's that process?
Yeah, so periodically throughout the season, especially just before we start, Minka Draper brings, she's our costume designer, and she brings a rack of clothes, like 3 racks of clothes, and we just spend a couple of hours trying on all the things, and they're all so fabulous, and some of them are kind of scary, like in an 80s way, like, ooh, I don't know about that one, let's try it. And then sometimes it really works in an amazing way, and then sometimes it's like, no, we scratch it. But Louie has a huge closet full of clothes that we don't even get to. So episode by episode, Minka kind of picks what I'm gonna wear, but they've all been things that I've tried on and and feel good in and feel powerful in. And I think it's been such a really lovely collaboration, where Minka's really good at knowing the story and how this particular outfit fits in the story. Like the episode, I forget which episode it is, but they're Franklin and Louie and Jerome and Peaches are at the gas station, and then Franklin kind of tears into Louie at the end there, but just Louie standing there in that leopard print dress, so ferocious, and really this is the moment where she decides, this is the last time you tear into me like this. And to be wearing that dress, and then also the wind was kind of blowing, so it's also kind of flowy and feminine, and it's just a really beautiful play with who Louie is. And so I'm just grateful that I get to be a part of it. I got to weigh in heavily on Louie's wedding dress, and that was really cool. Yeah, so I feel like it's a really beautiful collaboration.
And the show has been renewed for a 6th season, which will be the show's last season. And you mentioned, you were able to talk to David Andron before a season about what kind of things you want, for your character, where you'd love to, what you would love to explore. Did you have anything like that with season 6? Are there things that you're especially, that you want to see happen? If not specifics of here's what the finale is, but just sort of directions you want to see it go.
We haven't had that conversation yet. That will probably happen early summer. I have some ideas. What I love is that Louie is in a place where there is room to go way darker, and then there's also room for a lot of redemption, I think. And so that's really what I'm interested in for season 6, seeing her grapple with the light and the dark, seeing how that interplays with Franklin's grapple. I think it's going to be really messy and really fun.
And what will you miss the most about playing Louie and about being on the show when you have to say goodbye to it? I know it's still always, you still got to shoot the next season, of course, but are you already starting to think about how that'll feel?
I mean, I feel so emotional right now. Just thinking about saying goodbye is hard. I really love Louie. I really love my cast and my crew. It really is a family. And even to just be surrounded by artists who bring their A game every time. We have such talented people in front of the camera and behind the camera. So I'm gonna miss that, the full commitment, and also the family energy that's there. And when I was auditioning for Louie, I wasn't sure in the beginning, do I want to play this character? Do I want to be in a drug drama? And who is this woman who's like beating up people? Like, that's not my story. And once I got the call back, I was like, how am I going to play her? I don't know this world. And I said, well, how did she get here? Let's start there. And I did a deep dive into Louie in a meditation. And I really just tried to explore possibilities of her life and that may have led to her in this place where she's high on Sherm, watching her stories, and then this girl comes and the whole thing. And I realized she was a woman who had not been told yes, really ever in her life. And how much heartbreak must live there if you've never been told yes, if you've never been told you can do this, you can be that, you can, the world is your oyster, or even this part of the world is your oyster. She didn't even have that. And that just really made me love her, and it made me want to protect her. And I thought, if I don't take this role, I don't know who they're going to give it to. And what if they haven't met her there? What if they don't know that she's a full human being with dreams, big, huge dreams? And so, yeah, I have to take this role. If I get offered this role, I have to take it. And that's what I've tried to bring to Louie every step of the way, is her full humanity, her full power. She has humongous dreams, and she always has. And she's super smart. And so she saw an opportunity in Franklin, and she says, I meet that opportunity and I'll push you even further. Let's go. And if you can't see me, I'm gonna go in my own direction. And here we are. So I'm gonna admit, and she's taught me in my own personal life how to step into and live in my own power, how to say what it is that I want, how to say what I don't want, how to articulate the vision that I have for myself. I mean, I am completely indebted to Louie, and I have so much gratitude for the privilege of playing her, and for being able to play her surrounded by love and people who are also super smart and have such artistic integrity. It's really a humongous privilege.
Well, congratulations on season 5. Congratulations on season 6 to come. Everything you said about Louie, I feel like that came through this season. So anyone who is like, not messing with Louie anymore, I'm like, I mean, they need to admit that Franklin's got some of this coming. Like it's
exactly,
it's not just her. So I'm a little bit on the fence between them, but I look forward to seeing where that goes. And thank you so much for talking with me about it.
Of course. Thank you for talking with me. This has been great.